This game is going to take place on Coastline, another Coastline match. This was the second or third in a row from this particular night. The bans across the board are the two Shields and then Thatcher and Malusi. Pretty common bans. I understand that it's very laughable at higher ranks that the Shields get banned so often, as there's a lot of counterplay. Most of the time because the Shield players are not in a coordinated 5-stack or can kind of be outsmarted in general. I choose to go with Ace, tried and true. He's kind of the character that I've been playing most often. And the rest of our team, Jackal, Zero, IQ, Habana. I think Habana was auto-picked, so I don't really count that as a choice, really, by that particular teammate. Looking around the droning phase, what I am expecting here is the same thing that typically happens. They're going to spawn either up top in Penthouse or Hookah Bar. They spawned Hookah, that is the default spawn. And I can see that they are just kind of setting up their standard site. I am just looking to change my spawn there to the appropriate ruins. Now, ruins kind of runs the risk of getting spawn peaked more easily, but should be pretty easy to avoid if you're aware of it. Just being overly cautious here of any and all potential spawn peaks, just because I've been burned from the pink bar window and the aquarium door so many times. Going roof is something that I often neglect on this particular map. I was about to go up top to the roof just then, but I decided not to. Taking a quick drone out and looking around aquarium for where anybody might be.
One luggage.
I had the call out for luggage, and even with that call out, actually, yes, I thought I was going to get got by that person, but just holding an angle. I believe it was the last match I played on Coastline where I was punished for looking away from an angle. As I mentioned, it was one of those rules of Siege where, you know, however long you hold an angle and stare down a particular alley, that is exactly 1 second less than it'll take the enemy to peek.
I'm laying down billiards.
That particular time I held out long enough, and I ended up getting 2 kills in the first round here.
Prone billiards table.
That was a frustrating death, as the teammate of mine called out that he was prone on billiards. I knew where he was, and it was just a matter of aiming poorly. I go sledge this time, banking on the fact that they are going to spawn in kitchen. Or banking on the hope. They're not in kitchen, so I am going to have to change my initial strategy up. Whenever I choose sledge on Coastline, my goal is to go up in the VIP circular couch room and open up holes in the floor to shoot down in the kitchen and hopefully score a couple kills. If they end up going upstairs, I feel that my utility is a bit more limited just because they tend to have all the key walls reinforced. The only thing that you can really gain from being sledge here is, apart from the grenades, being able to open up the bathroom hatch with no fuss. I think double checking my drone here is a good call. It ends up paying off for me in that I notice someone in the VIP room. It's always a fine line between droning too much and wasting the whole round and droning an appropriate amount and coming out ahead. So here I am just checking and double checking that the Valkyrie is where I want her to be. Probably could have been cleaner, but I think it was a pretty well thought out attack there. Hopping on the drone again, just because I'm really not sure where anybody is at. The assumption is obviously that they're all huddled up on site, but there's no real way to know. The rotate here is bizarre to me, and it made me very suspicious, but in the end, no one was there. Same within the bathroom. I don't understand this. Putting a rotate right there in bathroom and then not hanging out in bathroom. I noticed the echo blast and I don't know where it comes from.
I destroyed one of them.
If I were paying attention, I probably could have seen it in the roof or on the ceiling of penthouse bedroom. I'm not really sure what the cooldown for the Echo Drone is, but that is
30 seconds.
quicker than I thought it would be. Taking a messy gunfight here into theater. But my teammate comes in to save me, and it ends up being a 4v2, and then a 4v1.
Throw grenades, step back. Or that works.
Ends up being huddled up back there, and it's a clean win. I like the way that Sledge worked out that particular round, and now, knowing that they've already cleared, or already tried and failed, I should say, at the two top sites, because they could always go back, I assume that they're going to go kitchen. Just because that's what I would do if I lost the two main sites in a row. So far from the first couple of rounds here, I think I am doing a good job being proactive in droning, and even though the site wasn't conducive to my gadget all that much, I probably could have gotten a bit more use out of it. The early death before I even entered the building in round one was particularly painful, and I probably could have had that if I don't want to lean on mechanical skill as an excuse, but in that particular instance, I did know where the mute was based on callouts, and I was aiming in roughly the appropriate spot. So being able to kind of correct that aim in the moment and bring the crosshair back to the enemy, rather than miss the shots as I did, would have been quite a big difference. Being cautious of runouts here is a good idea. I think that that is kind of a waste of a grenade, although I did get a lot of the utility out of the way. An ADD and barbed wire is, I think, a pretty fair trade for one frag grenade, not to mention the door got opened up a bit. On this map, you'll always find Caveras or some deep roam person up in Penthouse, regardless of where the site is. So I am very cautious of this area on this map, no matter where it is, and it just kind of makes sense that in a standard strat, there would be somebody up here to prevent what I want to do, which is open up the floor. It's kind of strange that the barricade is from the outside looking in to the bar there, I mean, because Capcan's on the inside. And I assume, like, hey, if the wall is up, then I will have my sound cues. So I can kind of open this floor up at my leisure and not worry about the Capcan running up on me, because if he tries to open the door, it'll be really loud.
Yeah, in that room where you jump in, I don't
This Ice Max guy is giving callouts by saying, like, in that room where you jump in and things like that. Not very good callouts. I have no idea what that means. So I'm just sticking with my plan and then get got by a bandit. So this was definitely me kind of having tunnel vision. I should have noticed where my team was at and stuck with them a bit more bit more closely. If we were able to watch each other's backs, or if I had specifically requested someone come up to protect me while I did that, probably would have saved me from the bandit or given me some more reaction time. Opening up the rotates with mute here. And again, every time I'm watching a replay where I'm playing mute on this site, I really cannot come up with a good spot for the mute jammers. The one on Hookah Balcony makes a lot of sense. This one that's kind of coming in from Aquarium makes sense, even though the door is a little wide. And then I'm trying to make concessions here, like, you know, with this one, I understand that it could be shot from the doorway on Aquarium Balcony very easily, but where else is it going to go? I don't think I put the one down at the top of Cool Vibe that I tend to like to put down. If I have one remaining, perhaps that would have been a good spot for it. Though I do end up just placing it on this exterior wall. I was taking a peek there to see if the wall that I like reinforced got reinforced. It did not. But if I'm the one that likes it being reinforced, I probably should have reinforced it. When I watch this, I'm kind of noticing that I don't really know where to go to be useful. I'm just kind of sitting in this corner watching cameras, and that corner was very exposed to the doorway or the window on billiards, so definite position issue there. Being cautious of where I'm going to be crossing, I think that's a good idea. Although again, my back is wide open to the window. Trying to hold the Cool Vibes angle, but I'm moving a lot. I feel like here I'm just kind of dealing with some indecision, and had I known exactly what angle I wanted to hold, would have been a bit more effective. For the past 30 to 40 seconds I've kind of just been, well, I mean the entire round, but the past 30 to 40 seconds in particular, I'm just kind of walking around without a real goal. Now this I will go ahead and call intentional camming, because I am waiting for someone to come up the stairs so I can make a play.
Oh, I hit my mat.
And get killed from the big window. So that is painful to see, because I had called out just a couple times now how exposed I was to that window. I even put a mute jammer way back on the back corner to protect the wall there, and that would also protect me from big window. Of course, the drawback is I would be open to Cool Vibes. I think that is a standard spot to hold, so I'll have to have a think about where to put myself when I'm holding that site in the future. The mute jammers here I think are fairly straightforward. It's a bit of a horse apiece, I guess would be the best way to say it, in terms of the main doorway into balcony, or not balcony, into kitchen there, just because if I put it on the left side, they'll see it from the Cool Vibe stairs. If I put it on the right side, they'll see it from Blue Bar. There's not really a perfect spot to put it. I'm just kind of banking on them either coming from the Sunrise Bar or from Cool Vibe stairs, which I think is anecdotally a very common spot for them to come from. Holding pink bar here without going for any spawn peaks is a good move, because I know my mechanical skill with the SMG-11 is not good enough to get those range of peaks. I think what I should have done here is notice that they're absolutely not coming from this way and rotated around to help my team a bit more. I am working on getting more information, but this is really just kind of a waste at this point, just because I've confirmed about 3 times that no one's coming.
You're on the window here.
Finally see them coming from the front door. Probably should have adjusted quicker. Just being very cautious of these windows, even though I know there's no one there. Just a bad shot. I think that the position I got myself into here is more favorable. I have the cover from the bomb, and I also won't be getting shot from the kitchen window. That won't stop me from going for a kill, though. I definitely have to get used to the physics of throwables. In general, C4 kind of escapes me. As this round winds down, I'm going to say that one of the takeaways from attack is going to be that, you know, I think I did pretty well. Apart from mechanical skill, I think I made the right call in terms of when to drone, when to push, and keeping an eye on where people were. That is just from my perspective down here at my rank, but I do think I did pretty okay on attack this time around. Defense, I will say that there's at least 2 key takeaways. One is going to be that I need to identify in the moment when I am wasting time. And I also need to, you know, kind of be a bit more cautious about the gunfights I take. So, for example, in that last round, I spent a lot of time just hanging out in Sunrise when I could have been making some more things happen.
Out of her. Listen to all them fucking shots, bro.
So it was a loss, but wasn't the worst loss I've ever experienced, even though it was a 1-4. I think that this is kind of highlighting one of my weaker aspects is going to be attacking. This unfortunately did knock me down to bronze 5.